Alrighty, guys. I believe I am live. So, what's going on, guys? Boss Up 6 here, back to you with another live stream. And today is a very, very, very special one because if you guys have read the title of the stream, I'm going to be predicting how every NFL team is going to do in the upcoming 2024 season. 2023 was certainly a weird season, to say the least, considering that a lot of teams were massively underwhelming and massively disappointing. I think this year, I believe the offensive, I believe if I remember from an offensive standpoint, massive drop off from 2023. That's how sloppy the offenses were in 2023. Now, hopefully this year will be a little bit better, but we can only speculate. But yeah, hopefully a couple people will join the chat. I wanted to do this earlier, but I got sidetracked with some things. So yeah, let's get into this. I'm not going to go too far with at least some of my critiques that I'm going to be having for some of these teams. So yeah, without wasting any time, I'm going to go through alphabetically as well. So yeah, and actually, before we get started, Roman VR, hey, just waiting for my Steelers predictions. I'll get to them here later, but yeah, without further ado, let's start off with the first team, which is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals last year, one of the worst teams of the year, but that was kind of by default because we all knew they were going to be tanking. We all knew that they weren't going to be good. I'll give them credit, though. All the 4 wins that they did win, they were against players that were eventually going to be in the playoffs and even divisional winners. That first game against Dallas was a big shocker. Then they beat the Steelers, then the Falcons, and they shockingly beat the Eagles. So while they were one of the worst teams in the league, I'll give them credit. At least 80% of their games they were making it competitive, especially against Washington and maybe a little bit against San Francisco. So I'll give Arizona credit for at least making it competitive for a little bit, even though, again, they were tanking. Now they got Marvin Harrison Jr., who was the highest wide receiver prospect going into this year's draft. And now that Kyle Murray is back from his injury, and now that Jonathan Gannon is really starting to rally the offense and defense a little bit of hope is starting to appear here in Arizona. And I will give my predictions on how I think every team is going to do in terms of record-wise. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be like a divisional winner or anything because, I mean, look at their division for God's sake. But I do think they're going to have a little bit of improvement, but they're still just going to be decent to meh at best. So I'm going to say they're going to win 7 games and have 10 losses. I think they're going to go 7-10 this year. Massive improvement from last year, but they're still trying to bounce back from the Cliff Kingsbury kerfluffle that was 2022. So 7-10 I have for the Arizona Cardinals. Next up is the Atlanta Falcons. God damn it, this team pissed me off so much. What do you get when you have one of the best offenses in the entire league and you resort to sloppy seconds in Jonnu Smith and KhaDarel Hodge? That's what you get. And not to mention the awesome, brilliant quarterback play that was Desmond Ridder. Oh my God, dude. You have Bijan Robinson, who was a big risk in the draft, who turned out to be one of the better wide receivers of last year. You have Kyle Pitts, and you have Drake London. Why are you not using them, Arthur Smith? For God's sakes, dude, do you have a little bit of a doo-doo in your brain? My God, the play calling was so damn incompetent. Arthur Smith looked like he had no idea what the hell he was doing. A 5-year-old could have done a better job than Arthur Smith. He's not Pittsburgh's problem. So, and not to mention they got Raheem Morris, who seems like a retread as head coach. I mean, I hope to God he does better than whatever the hell Arthur Smith was doing. But my God, the cherry on top of this fuck you Sunday had to do what they did in this year's draft. Atlanta Falcons, you were number 8 overall. You should either fix your offense a little bit or fix your defense. If it was up to me, I would have fixed the offense a little bit, or the O-line at least. Why in the ever-loving hell did you pick a quarterback? You have a situation where you brought in Kirk Cousins for 4 years, $100 million guaranteed, by the way, guaranteed. And Cousins is in his late 30s, who was coming off of an ACL injury, or not ACL, an Achilles injury. And you pick a quarterback? Under what circumstances is that a good idea? What circumstances? Simply believing that 28-3 mentally broke this franchise. They have not been the same since that Super Bowl, and this team is going to infuriate me like it did last year because they just can't get out of their own goddamn way, and it's so damn frustrating because they have such a good roster. But no, that's not what they did. They just keep tripping over their own damn feet. And yeah, it's going to be a mess. And the NFC South is already a dumpster fire as it is. So why not make it more of a complete fuckfest than it already is? So yeah, Atlanta probably going to go maybe 8-9 like they did last year and be massively disappointing. So yeah, like why? Why a quarterback? I don't like Michael Penix. The problem is the dude was damaged to hell in college, which is why he got held back for so long. It's just, why? Just why? Next up is the Baltimore Ravens. Why in the ever-loving hell? Oh my God. Look, okay, I'm not going to go too much when it comes to the Ravens, because I already talked about it when they choked in the AFC Championship game this past season. Just why? This team frustrates me to no end. You have one of the best rushing attacks in the entire league. You are the best team in the entire league, and you lose to a very weak Kansas City team in the playoffs. I don't know whether to take the Ravens seriously or not. I really don't. Because every time we think this team is going to go to Super Bowl, they manage to plexico burst themselves. They shoot themselves in their own goddamn foot, and it's so damn frustrating. It's frustrating. Lamar can make all the great plays he wants, but it won't matter because you keep choking in January. And I like Lamar. I love Lamar Jackson. But for God's sakes, dude, quit trying to play hero ball. Throw a check down, for Christ's sake. So, yeah, this team, they're probably going to have another good record, but the AFC North is going to be a massacre this year. It's going to be a literal bloodbath. So, yeah, I guess this team is going to go maybe 10-7, maybe 11-6. But I'm sorry, after the nonsense they pulled this past January, I'm not really going to take this team all too lightly. So they're going to have a good record, but it won't matter until it happens in January. Next up is the Buffalo Bills. God damn it, Buffalo. Does this team like pain? Does this franchise like pain? Does this fan base like pain? Because I'm sure as hell they are gluttony for punishment. I feel so terrible for Buffalo fans. I really do, because I want this city to have a championship. I really do. I like the Bills. I love Josh Allen. But my God, I am certain to believe this team is cursed. There is no way that this team, who has been consistently talented for the past 5 years, that has been completely owned by Tom Brady and the Patriots, having that failed 4-year Super Bowl run in the 90s, and get constantly made fun of and beat everyone's bitch in the AFC East. The one time they finally break through, they still can't get it done in the end. And that's what makes this so damn depressing at this point. It's not even funny at this point, man. It's honestly depressing to see this team have such a damn good roster, but unfortunately, it always comes up short in the end when it comes to the playoffs. It's happened to them with Kansas City. It happened to them with the Bengals. It's just this team wants to break through, but they just get so damn unlucky. And it breaks my heart to see it happen. It really, really, really does. And they're really biting the bullet big time. They had to give up Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. Matt Milano was injured. They're bringing back old-ass Von Miller, who has not been good in the past 2 years. He feels like a complete liability at this point. Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White's gone. And you think that they would get a really good wide receiver in the draft? Nope. They had to – guess what they had to do? They had to trade with Kansas City again. Because that worked out the last time. Oh, wait. What did Kansas City do with Buffalo's draft pick? Oh, yeah. They picked Patrick Mahomes, who is probably going to be in a top 3 discussion when it comes to quarterbacks of all time. It's just... oh, my God. And you gave up Xavier Worthy, who was the fastest guy in the combine, by the way. And, yeah, you got Keenan Coleman, who looks reliable and he looks suitable, but I have a fear that Josh Allen's going to be running for his life 90% of the time. And hell, in all honesty, this past season, the team should have only lost maybe 2 to 3 games at most. You had to lose to the Jets, to the Broncos, to the Patriots. It's just this team. Oh, my God. I love Buffalo. I like the Bills. The Bills Mafia is one of the most beloved franchises and one of the most beloved fan bases, depending on who you ask. And I have very good friends who are Buffalo fans. I want this team to succeed, dude. I really, really, really do. But if they can't get it out of their own damn way, and especially when Mahomes is playing against them in January, this team, I have a feeling, is not going to go far. I have a feeling they're going to probably miss out. But there's a chance they might make it in the wild card. I'm going to say they're 9-8, but that's probably putting it a little bit lightly. I just think they're going to be very, very disappointed this year. And Gigabyte95, thank you for joining in the chat. White was injured, to be fair. Yeah, that's true. Buffalo may be decent, but I still think they will decline a bit. Yeah, I think we all do. So, yeah, Buffalo was done. Now on to the Carolina Panthers. Oh, sweet Jesus Christ. This team was a flat-out abortion last year. This team was a dumpster fire from the word go. And I hate saying that because there's some good, solid players on the Panthers, but I'm certain to believe that this team has not been the same since Cam left. They have not been good for the past few seasons. They have just been mid as all living shit. Bryce Young looked horrible his rookie season. One of the worst rookie seasons I think I've ever seen a QB. At least in the first overall pick, mind you. And it was just terrible. It was just absolutely terrible. Bryce looked horrible out there. Absolutely horrible. They went 2-14. They could have went 0-16 if the Texans and the Falcons didn't choke it, but oh my God, it was just brutal. It doesn't help that David Tepper is making himself look like Dan Snyder 2.0, which, yeah, that's always good. But, man, it's just rough. It's just rough at this point. They gave up Brian Burns, which was the best player out of their entire squad last year. Yeah, they get Isaiah Legette, who is pretty likable in all honesty, but I don't think this team's going anywhere. They're probably still going to be middling as hell. They might have a better season than last, but honestly, they ain't saying a lot. But I could see them probably going 4-12. But I'm being too nice at this point. Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. Dire year for Cincinnati fans. Oh my God, this season was rough. Absolutely rough for the Bengals. Yeah, it was just rough from the word go. Like literally the preseason or a training camp. It was rough because Burrow got hurt. That calf injury really ruined him. Jamar Chase got hurt. It was just rough. It was just a rough beginning for Cincinnati fans, but it started to get a little bit better after that bye week. They were looking like the Bengals of 2021 in all honesty. And hold on, well, let me close my door really quick. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. My brother likes to make loud noises at night when my parents are sleeping. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, they were looking like the Bengals of 2021 and 2022. And then the game against Baltimore happened. Joe Burrow broke his wrist, and it was all over from there. Now, I'll give credit to Jake Browning for trying to rally the team around, especially with some really nice wins against the Vikings. But yeah, it just wasn't gonna. It just wasn't good. It was not good for Cincy. Thankfully, they did kind of upgrade their O line a little bit and their defense a little bit. But the question is, what's going on with T. Higgins? Is he going to stay or are they going to cut him? What are they going to do? They did lose Joe Mixon, but Mixon wasn't really doing anything worth note. Chamar had a pretty lost season, but then again, this whole season for Cincinnati was a pretty lost season again. So maybe they'll do better. Maybe they'll do a little bit worse. We can only speculate. It depends on how healthy Burrow is going to be. Because when Burrow is healthy, Cincinnati is going to go far. Once he gets hurt, they're going to struggle a bit. So I think they're going to go 11-6. I think they're going to have a big improvement from last year. But again, man, AFC North is going to be a slaughterhouse. So keep that in mind, will you? And then from one AFC North team to another, we have the Cleveland Browns. You know, the Browns might be a likable team if they didn't have Groper Cleveland at their QB, but I certainly digress. There's a fucking spider. I killed it. I got it. Anyways, yeah, Deshaun Watson's still on the team, so yeah, he can go kick rocks for all I care. But I will say, as talented as this team was, last year was still kind of a lost season because one, Weinstein kept getting hurt, and number two, they just kept getting banged up, especially towards the end of the season. Like Myles Garrett kept getting hurt. Nick Chubb was out for the year with a brutal leg injury. I'm surprised the fucker is going to be back next season. And he nearly had to end his career in college, let me mind you. So, yeah, further proof that Nick Chubb is a goddamn Terminator. Look out, Arnold. But I will say, Jim Schwartz came in clutch with that defense. That defense was phenomenal last year. Absolutely spectacular. And they were putting up barn burners, especially against the Ravens, especially against the Colts as well. And they were looking pretty solid. I mean, hell, they have a really good wide receiver core. Like, I love Amari Cooper. Jerry Jeudy should be all right. They got who the hell else do they have? I'm trying to think now. I'm honestly forgetting. But they got a really good offense. The problem is Deshaun Watson fucking sucks. That's literally the only thing that's really holding this team back. If the dude doesn't blow ass, then they're going to go far. But unfortunately, they had to resort to 38-year-old Joe Flacco to take them into the playoffs. I mean, granted, they got blew out by the Texans, but still, it just feels like a lost season. Again, it feels like a lost season despite the fact they went through all the trials and tribulation. I give Stefanski 110% credit for trying to rally the team around despite the fact they were banged up almost every single week. So, yeah, I can give him credit where credit is due, but I'm sorry, when you still have Groper Cleveland at your QB, that's what you get right there. So, I think the Browns might have a bit of a step back, but I still think they'll still do all right. All in all, I think they'll probably go 10-7, but who knows? Again, the AFC North is going to be a slaughterhouse. Next up, oh boy, everyone's favorite, America's favorite, the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God, them losing to the number 6 seed is absolute. Wait, was it number 6 seed? I believe so. Was it 6th or 8th? I think it was an 8th seed. They are the first playoff team to lose to a number 8 seed in the playoffs. That is fucking hilarious no matter how you spin it. I think it was actually number 6 seed. I could be wrong. But yeah, same shit with Dallas. They're going to have a good regular season, and they're going to blow ass in the playoffs, and that's been the same thing since 1996. It has. It's been like that for a long-ass time, and it's going to continue to be that for a long-ass time. You know why? Because America likes to suck on their own hopium. They are huffing that shit so hard that they're going to go into outer space with it. Absolutely unreal. But thankfully for all of us, I think they're going to blow massive amounts of ass. Why? Because, some of their players retired, some of them are actually gone, and a couple of them are probably going to be traded and leaving soon. Yeah, it's not going to be a good year for Dallas. And no one's going to feel bad because Dallas deserves it for having such a goddamn arrogant franchise. So all in all, I'm going to say they're probably going to go 8-8, but they'll probably bullshit their way into a winning record because, let's be fair, the NFC East kind of blows ass right now. So, yeah, it's not going to be fun, but yeah, I think Dallas is going to suck this year. I just don't think they're going to be good at all. And no one's going to feel bad because it's Dallas. Geeky by 95, if he plays at least average, the Browns will win 10 games. He plays like his old Texan self, that will be a tough team. If he plays like Aston, the Browns will be meh. I don't think he's going back to his old Texans style because he doesn't give a fuck. He got that big pay, and why would you give a shit if you have a big pay from a guy that is a complete stooge, aka Jimmy Haslam? Next up is the Denver Broncos. Depressing. This is a very, very, very depressing franchise. Look, I know why they went with Wilson this year or last year after it looked terrible. I'll give him credit. Wilson looked a lot better, especially with Sean Payton, but you had Nathaniel Hackett as your head coach. A fifth grader could have done a better job than Nathaniel Hackett. But the Broncos just couldn't get out of their own goddamn way. That's literally the problem with the Denver Broncos. And while Wilson looked great, the defense still blew ass. Like, why was Vic Fangio still with the team after week 3 when they got blew up by Miami 70-20? Why was Vic Fangio still as their defensive coordinator? Actually makes no damn sense. You fixed Wilson, you could have fixed the defense. Even though the defense got better, Wilson regressed. And now Denver is struggling big time. They lost Jerry Jeudy, which may not be all that bad. They did get Bo Nix in the draft, and they have one of the most uninspired QB rooms ever. You have Bo Nix, Jarrett Stidham, and MILF Hunter Zach Wilson. If that doesn't scream mid, I don't know what does. Yeah, I don't think Denver is going to be really anything too spectacular this year. I think they're going to go 5-12. I don't think they're going to be good at all this year. So, yeah, that's just me. After that, who is after that? I'm trying to think. Dallas, Denver, I believe. Oh, no, Detroit. Detroit's next. What a turnaround for Detroit. Honestly, this might be one of the best bounce back years that I have seen from a team in literally years. Literally years. You took a franchise that was completely desolate and in despair, and you've successfully turned them into Super Bowl contenders like that. I mean, literally, week 1, the first game in the NFL season, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions. That doesn't happen often with Detroit. And it's honestly shocking they still won that game. Man, that was such a fucking weird game. But there's hope in Detroit. And I like that. I like that there's hope again in Detroit because this city deserves it, man. This city hasn't really been relevant ever since the Pistons won their championship in 2004. They really haven't. Because look at the Pistons and Detroit then. Look at them since. They have been a dire city since. Well, I mean, the Red Wings were still doing solid. I think they won a championship a few years after the Pistons did, but still, Detroit as a city was just so damn dire. And now their football team is actually doing something worth the shit. Hell is frozen over and picks are falling from the sky. This is one of the best Detroit teams I've seen in a good while. And by that, I mean probably since when Megatron was still with the team. Granted, the defense still fucking sucked, especially the secondary, but hopefully Aaron Glenn can probably get that saved. Malafawu was still pretty solid. Brian Branch was doing all right. They got Teron Arnold now. Cam Sutton finally fucked off after him playing GTA 5 in real life. And the defense is going to get better, even though they're getting banged up. It's still early. It's only the preseason. They still have they actually have till this week to actually get their shit together. I think they're going to get better. They're going to get better. They're going to get hungry. They're going to be a little more aggressive. And I like that. Just don't get too aggressive with your play calling there, Campbell. I don't know how the fuck they managed to blow that NFC Championship game, but I digress. I've already talked about it in every team's worst playoff loss. So all in all, I think Detroit they're going to have a bit of a tougher schedule because they did kind of have a soft schedule last year. They might struggle a bit. I think they're going to go 11-6, but I think they're just going to be they're a really damn good team. So after that, you have the Green Bay Packers from one NFC North team to the other. Actually, you know what? I fucked up. I forgot the Chicago Bears. My mistake. Oh, I've already fucked this thing up. Oh, well. You know what? Fuck it. We're still going. Chicago Bears, really quick. They tanked for Caleb Williams. They got Caleb Williams. They got Rome Odunze. Williams looked good in the preseason. Let's see how that translates into the regular season. Defense looked like shit. Defense got better once they got Montez Sweat. So on and so forth. They're going to be all right. They're going to be fine. I don't know if they're going to win the North this year, but if Caleb Williams and especially if the whole Bears offense and defense gets their shit together, they're going to be all right. I think they might miss the playoffs this year. They'll probably go 8-8, but who knows? Let's see if the shit talking actually works in their favor this time. So now that I got that fuck up out of my system, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. The Packers looked like dog shit earlier this past season. They looked horrible. Jordan Love looked like a complete bust through the first 4 games, but slowly got better. And I swear to God, I've never seen a franchise that has had back-to-back QB luck in a long, long, long time. I swear to God. It was Brett Favre, then it was Aaron Rodgers, and now it's Jordan Love. They can't keep getting away with this shit, dude. It's honestly insane. And Jordan Love, he's looking like a franchise QB, I would say halfway through the season, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense. It really doesn't make any sense how they keep getting away with this. It's honestly insane. By the way, is my audio working? If anyone can hear me, is my audio working? Because it's looking like it's not. I'm going to be super pissed if it isn't. Hold on. Let me do this. All right. Actually, you know what? Let me check to see my phone really quick. Hold on. Let me check to see if my audio is working on my phone. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Yep, my audio is working. Yep. Okay, we are all good. We are in the clear. I repeat, we are in the clear. All right. I thought my audio wasn't working. I was going to freak the fuck out. So, actually, you know what? Here, let me just look up the teams so that way I don't fuck it up again. Let me every NFL team. Okay, yeah. So, yep. All right, so yeah, we're on the Packers now. So yeah, the Packers, they were looking pretty dire at the beginning, but eventually it got better. Yeah, Joe Barry's defense wasn't that good, but now that he's Matt LaFleur can finally um, rely on Jordan Love more. They shockingly beat. Well, I would say shockingly, they beat the Cowboys in the most hysterical way possible. And they almost beat the 49ers, but just things didn't go their way. So, yeah, I think they're going to be a better team this year. I could see them going 10-7. I could see that. I could see the Packers going 10-7 personally. So I think they're going to get better. They're going to get hungrier. The youngest team in NFL history and the youngest team in the league right now. So yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to do this year. And again, Tom Grossi is a lucky man. Just saying. Next up is the Indianapolis Colts. Wait, it's the Houston Texans. My bad. The Texans. You again, like I just said with Detroit, you have a franchise that has not met worth a shit since 2019, and now they're completely turning their franchise around. This is how you rebuild properly. This is how you rebuild a franchise. Take notes, New Orleans, but I'll get to them. You'll get to them later. Um, yeah, again, you took a franchise that was not really doing anything, and you turn them around, and lo and behold, they're one of the hottest teams in the AFC. CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons, in my personal opinion. Nico Collins was great. Tank Dell, before he got hurt, was fantastic. This team is doing really damn good stuff. Hell, Dara Wale was doing great. They got Joe Mixon and they got Stephon Diggs in a big trade. So I'm curious to see how they're going to do this year. I think D'Amico Ryans is going to might do some better play calling. I think Stroud's going to get better. This team might go to the Super Bowl here in the near future, and it's going to be special, if you ask me. So I could see them probably going 11-5, maybe 10-7, or 11-6. So yeah, I could see this team doing really damn good stuff. And all in all, good stuff there by the Texans. Next up is the Indianapolis Colts. Ooh, it was a bit of a rough one this year for Indy. The Colts had an interesting year, to say the least, because it started off a little rocky, and then Anthony Richardson got hurt, which was a pretty big blow because Richardson was looking pretty good at the beginning. But unfortunately, he got hurt, and then in comes Gardner Minshew mania, if you will. And give credit to Minshew. He rallied the team around. Yeah, they lost some pretty rough games, especially that game against Cleveland, but they were still in contention to go into the playoffs. All they had to do was beat Houston. And then Tyler Goodson made that bad drop. Oh, that drop was so bad. It was a bad throw too, looking back on it, but that was such a brutal way to lose a game. Such a brutal game. So yeah, it was a rough way to go out, but hopefully Indy can kind of bounce back and try to compete for the AFC South crown. And hopefully things will go well for them. I think they're going to go 10-6 in my opinion, or 9-8. They might stick it to a wild card spot if they get lucky. And yeah, I think everything might be going okay within the Michael Pittman Jr. still doing really damn good. Jonathan Taylor is doing great as usual. So yeah, I think that Richardson comes back healthy. I can see the Colts doing really damn good. If they do decline, I can see why I could see a bit of a decline. But I'm gonna go with 9-8. I'm gonna stick to my guns, and so hopefully Indy can turn their ship around. Next up, I believe, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh boy, Duval, you had it. You had it, Duval. All you had to do was not lose all your damn games. And look what happened. It was rough, dude. It was really rough. Lawrence is still on the fence. We still don't know how to think about Trevor Lawrence, which is really weird considering that Lawrence looks like a really damn good player. We still don't know how to think about him. He's shown flashes, but we still don't know what to think about him. And again, it's so weird because we know Lawrence is good, but is he just on the wrong team? We can only speculate. Everything that went wrong with Jacksonville went wrong. It really did, especially the last 4 games. Those last 4 games were brutal, absolutely brutal. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. No idea what the hell happened with them. I might think they might go 8-8. They'll probably be average because I don't know. Their downfall was just so damn rough. So I could probably see them going 8-8, maybe 9-8 if they get lucky into a wild card spot. But I'm going to go 8-8. I think they're just going to be average at best, and at worst they'll probably be 7-10. So yeah, the Vol took a very big drop, and yeah, it's looking pretty bad for them. Next up is Kansas City Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. Will they be the first ever team to three-peat? I say no. And the reason why I say no is because I think the old guard is really starting to slow down. Travis Kelce's starting to slow down. Mahomes didn't look all that great last year. Granted, he had some bad performances that were explainable because some of them were just mainly due to bad receivers. Hello, Kadarius Toney and MVS. And, him getting sick, him getting injured, that shit tends to happen. But I was shocked the Chiefs even went to the Super Bowl last year because they looked suspect as shit. Like, they really looked suspect as shit. And, yeah, it wasn't looking that good. But thankfully, they got their shit together. They looked like a Super Bowl team in the playoffs. They finally, I wouldn't say finally, but they beat Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers again. And they're looking to become, well, they're already a dynasty at this point. They won 3 Super Bowls in the past 4 years. So, past 5 years, I should say. So, yeah, there you go there. Again, I don't think they're going to three-peat. They're probably going to win the AFC West again. I think they're going to lose in a wild card game. I don't know. Just something just not feels right with Kansas City. That and Rashee Rice is being a fucking idiot, and somehow he's still on the field, which makes no goddamn sense to me. So, yeah, it's a little rocky when it comes to Kansas City. So, again, they're probably going to win the division, but I have a slight feeling they're not going to go far in the playoffs this year. They're probably going to go 11-5, but that's probably about it. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, at least Josh McDouche-Canoe is gone, and that's the only positive thing I could really say about, or really one of the big positive things I could say about the Raiders. The Raiders were looking terrible last season, and no one's going to tell you otherwise. They looked like shit. And I thought Davante Adams was going to leave because he was fed up with just how terrible and how toxic the how things were. But finally, McDaniels is gone, and Antonio Pierce was the interim head coach, and they blew out the Chargers literally the week later. I don't think I've ever seen a team that has turned around so damn hard in a span of 1 week so quickly. Yes, they did lose a couple games and unfortunately lost out in the playoffs. I can give them credit though for turning their season around when they did. I can give them massive amounts of credit for turning it around. Yes, they still need a quarterback. AOC and Minshew, man, not really all that inspiring, but they got Brock Powers. He's going to look like a stud, so I can give him credit for that. So I kind of like the pick that they went there. That and they got Christian Wilkins as well, who he's going to help Crosby breathe at least when it comes to the defense at least. So yeah, I think they're going to do pretty solid. They can go to the wild card. I could see them having a wild card spot because they do kind of have a light schedule. I could see them probably going 7-8, maybe 10-7, or not 7-8, 9-8, maybe 10-7. So, yeah, I think they're going to do all right. Again, QB situation's still iffy. They'll probably need a quarterback next year, but I think they're going to do pretty solid this season, and I can see them going to the playoffs. So, all in all, I think they're going to go 10-7. Next up, we have one of two LA teams on the list, the Los Angeles Chargers. Someone, for the love of God, protect Justin Herbert. That's literally all I need to say. Brandon Staley got fired, thank God. They brought in Jim Harbaugh, who hopefully is going to turn this desolate franchise around. And just someone, for the love of God, protect Herbert. I don't know why they didn't go with the wide receiver in the draft. They got Joe Alt, who I've heard, from what I've seen, he actually looks pretty solid because they do need to fix their O-line. But the Chargers just need to fix everything. They need to fix everything, in my opinion. So, yeah, I could see them maybe going. I could see the Chargers probably going 8-8. They'll probably just be mid, in my opinion. But who knows? Maybe they can turn their season around. Maybe they won't. Who knows? Alrighty, next up is the Los Angeles Rams. I'll give them credit for turning it around halfway through the season because they were looking pretty bad. Especially after Stafford got hurt. But once Stafford came back from injury, they've won every single game, so I'll give them credit for that. Unfortunately, though, they did lose to the Lions in the wild card, and Aaron Donald's officially announced his retirement. So, yeah, I think the Rams are going to struggle this year. I can't see Stafford going another year. I think he's going to retire after this year because, yeah, it's looking pretty rough, especially in the household, especially with his wife Kelly. If you get it, you get it. But yeah, Nakua's looking like a stud. They lost Cam Akers to the Texans. They did get what the hell was Talise Afanga, I believe, to kind of replace Aaron Donald, even though I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the team's going to go very far, in my opinion. They'll probably just go 6-11. I could probably see them going 6-11. Yeah, they're just going to be mid, in my opinion. Next up is the Miami Dolphins. Oh, boy. So what do you get when you have one of the most offensive star-studded rosters and wide receivers in the NFL? You go 11-6. You shockingly don't win. Oh no, they went 10-7. They went 10-7. They didn't win the division, and they got blown out in the wild card. That's literally it. Tua had a good year. Tyreek had a fantastic year, and it resorted in no playoff wins. The Detroit Lions have had a more playoff win recently than the Dolphins. They had a more recent NFC Championship game than the Dallas Cowboys. I forgot to mention that, but that's fucking hilarious. It is unfathomable how this team could look so damn good and look like a Super Bowl team in the regular season and look completely flat in the playoffs. Granted, in the playoffs, it was a literal igloo. It was literally Antarctica there. But still, I feel like this team gives their fans false hope. I really, 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 really think they do. So yeah, they're probably going to go 10-7, probably 11-6. But that's probably going to be it. Nothing more, nothing less. Next up, I believe, is the Minnesota Vikings. You want to talk about a team that is just cursed from the word go. Everything that went wrong with the Vikings last year went wrong. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kirk Cousins had one of the best seasons, if not the best season of his entire career. Achilles injury. And Justin Jefferson nearly died on the field. Oh, God. It was just brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. And it got worse in the offseason. Their quarterback that they drafted, I believe, second overall, died before he even had a chance to see the field. If that is not Minnesota luck, I don't know what is. And, oh, by the way, J.J. McCarthy, their big QB prospect, he's now out for the season with a hurt leg. Torn meniscus. Lovely. Then a couple other people got hurt. They lost Danielle Hunter, even though they did get Dallas Turner, which actually did work out for them. Should work out for them in the end. Yeah, this team, you know your team is desperate when you have Sam Darnold as your starting QB. Sam Darnold. Do I need to go any further? Probably not. So, yeah, I don't think Minnesota is going to be good at all. They're probably going to go 7-10, but I'm probably even being generous by that. Next up, it is, I believe, the New England Patriots. We have entered a new era in New England. Bill Belichick has finally retired after so many years of being in the league. I think ever since 84, 85, he's finally retired, and Emperor Palpatine is finally gone. We're starting a new era in New England. Drake May is a starting QB. They got Gerard Mayo as their head coach, and they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And by one of the worst, I think they're going to go 5-12. I don't see this team going anywhere. They literally got no one on their team that's worth mentioning. Kendrick Bourne, he got hurt. Christian Gonzalez, he got hurt with the torn ACL. Matt Judon, he's gone. He's with Atlanta. Juju Smith is gone. Smith-Schuster. This team's got no one. Literally no one. And we've been praying to downfall for New England for 20 years now. And it's finally happening upon them. And I don't know if anyone really feels bad outside of New England for them. So that's what you get for ruling the entire league with an iron fist for 20 plus years. I'm just saying. Next up is the New Orleans Saints. Just tank. Just tank. That's literally all I got to say. I was actually talking with Gigabyte and another guy in a Discord server in the voice chat talking about this. There's a possibility that the Saints are going to pick number one overall. They're going to have the number one overall pick. They have not had a first-round QB pick since 1975. That was the Archie Manning year. It has been over 50 years, or almost 50 years, since the Saints have had a first-round QB. That is absolutely ridiculous. Derek Carr is damaged goods. Alvin Kamara hasn't been good for a while. The offense is completely neutered. The defense sucks. Ryan Ramczyk's probably going to retire. Cam Jordan is not good. This team just does not. They just don't evolve. They are just the same mid-team that they have been for the past few years. This team has not been the same ever since the 2018 NFC Championship game when they got fucked over by the refs. It's just constant. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say mediocrity. Yeah, this team's not going to go anywhere. I think they're going to go maybe 7-10, be mediocre, and that's literally it. Next up is, I believe, the New York Giants. Well, Giants fans, do you want to talk about it? Because I don't know if you want to talk about it. Yeah, 2022 further proved to be a fluke and fraudulent year, and it came down crashing hard as soon as that game against Dallas happened. That was terrible. That was a terrible, terrible way to start. And it got worse. It got absolutely worse. Daniel Jones got hurt. Saquon Barkley got hurt. He's now with Philly. This team was terrible. It was a bad football team. Literally, one of probably the worst teams I've seen that like in last year. They were horrible. Absolutely horrible. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're probably going to go 4-12. I don't think they're going to do anything spectacular this year. They did get Malik Neighbors on the draft. He looked great in the training camp, but you either have Daniel Jones or you have Drew Lock throwing you the ball. You might as well just put a bullet in your head at this point because you have vanilla Eli Manning or you have Drew Horsecock Lock. Literally got nothing else to say after that. Speaking of the New York Jets, I have literally said this since it happened. If Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, your season is over. And look what happened. Rodgers tore his Achilles 4 plays in, and the season was over. I don't care how many games they won. That is another wasted year of a nice, great, fantastic Jets squad. Was it worth it? No, it was not. You had the Belf Hunter throwing you the ball. That didn't work. You had Trevor Siemian throwing you the ball. That didn't work. You had Tim Boyle throwing you the ball. It did not work. Another mediocre season. Nothing more, nothing less. They'll probably win the AFC East if the Dolphins say anything about it. They'll probably go 11-5 if Rodgers doesn't get hurt again. But still, was it worth it in the end? No, it was not. Next up, oh boy, Gigabyte, if you're still listening to this, I have something to say to you because the Philadelphia Eagles are next, and what the literal fuck. I don't know how you look like a Super Bowl team and you go undefeated and you look so unbelievably flat at the tail end of the season. That was horrible. Horrible. And I get it. The defense and the offense was banged up. The defense was terrible in the second half. Jalen Hurts was banged up. I think A.J. Brown got banged up. But still, dude, that had to be one of the worst single-season collapses I've seen in a long, 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 long time. It was bad. That was horrible. It was so damn bad. Getting blown up by Tampa Bay was bad enough, but Jesus, it was just brutal. Absolutely brutal. Now you did get Quinyon Mitchell, who should help with your defense. You got Saquon Barkley. You got Jahan Dotson from the Commanders. But, man, it just looked bad. It looked really, really, really bad. And I know this team can be a Super Bowl team if they don't get in their own goddamn way. Hell, why did you hire Matt Patricia again? Come again? Yeah, no, it was bad. You guys are going to win the NFC East because, again, it's the NFC East and that division's trash. You can probably go 11-5 or maybe 12 or 11-6 or maybe 12-5 if you feel generous. But, yeah, that was such a bad collapse on every sense of the word. Roman VR, if you're still in the chat, your Pittsburgh Steelers are up next. The Steelers had one of the most weirdest seasons I think I've ever seen. They went from terrible to okay to somehow good to dog shit and then back to okay. I don't understand how this team does it. I don't understand how this team does it. They look like absolute dog shit for 3 quarters. And then Kenny Pickett looks like he's John Elway. I don't get it. I don't get it. Pickett's now off to Philly. You have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as your QB battle. And you have one of the most interesting seasons I think I've ever seen the Pittsburgh Steelers have in a long, long, long time. And I'm certain to believe this might be your first losing season with Tomlin under as head coach. I have a certain suspicion you guys might go 7-10, but knowing you guys are probably going to go 8-8 or 9-8. Because nothing makes sense in this goddamn world anymore. Nothing does. Next up, and it looks like I'm just kind of breezing through these because it's late. I'm tired. I just want to get this done and over with. Next up is the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan blew another Super Bowl lead. Shocker, I know. Yeah. I don't get how Shanahan does it. Does Shanahan have a fetish for choking? Because he likes doing the big games. Makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't want to get it. I love Shanahan. I really do. But my God, why are you so aggressive with the play calling, dude? Just take the points. Have you not learned from Super Bowl 51? Because you clearly didn't. The Niners are going to have another good season. But I have a feeling that the Super Bowl aspirations are starting to go down big time. Trent Williams is on a holdout. I believe Brandon Ayuk might be getting traded. Possibly. Who knows? Yeah, it's looking a little toasty when it comes to San Fran in terms of everyone involved. That you got a Ricky Parcell in the draft. So yeah, Ayuk might be leaving. There's even rumors that Deebo Samuel might leave, which I don't think that'll happen, but if you guys are going to win the Super Bowl, y'all better act fast, because if not, then you guys are going to win the Super Bowl for another while. That's all I got to really say. Next up is the Seattle Seahawks. Disappointing is what I can really say. Like, this team had a chance to do something, but they just failed to capitalize on a lot of things. Geno Smith had a bit of a step back year. DK Metcalf still did good. Jackson Smith and Jigba had a really good year, but the defensive offense was just kind of off. They blew massive leads in games when they should have won, and it was just a bit weird. It just didn't really do anything, and I'm starting to believe that maybe Pete Carroll leaving was not a bad idea in the outset of things. They did get Mark McDowell from the Ravens, who I think is going to do really damn good, especially with a defense like that. And who knows? Maybe we can get the Legion of Boom 2.0. Maybe not. We can only speculate. So Seattle might do fine, but they'll probably just be kind of mediocre like they were last year. I think they're going to go 9. They're going to go 7-10, but who knows? They might go 8-8, just because fuck it. Next up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, they won the shit division, but kind of by necessity. They somehow did better than they did the year beforehand. Wonder why. And further cementing that Tom Brady is a system quarterback, because Baker Mayfield had a better season than Tom Brady. Yes, Brady was dealing with not only health problems, but also age and everyone get hurt around him. But still, you're supposed to be the GOAT, and you got outplayed by Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, who has not had really a good year since 2020. That's depressing. But Tampa had a pretty solid year. Their defense was still doing pretty solid. Yeah, they won some mad games, but again, it's the NFC South. It's a shit division. No one really cares about it. They're probably going to win the division again. I could see them going 10-7, but I won't really be shocked if they go back to mediocrity again. Mike Evans is staying, which I think is good. Baker is staying, which I think is good. Everyone else is just fine. I don't really have a problem with them personally. So, yeah, I think they're going to go 10-7. Nothing more, nothing less. And the final AFC team I'm going to be talking about is the Tennessee Titans. We knew that they were going to be rebuilding. Yeah, that's literally it. We knew that they were rebuilding. And I guess it worked out to an extent. They did get a J.C. Latham, who might do all right, especially for, I believe, their defense. But, sorry about that. Yeah, he might help out with their defense, because they got to protect Will Levis. Wait, was he defense or O-line? I think it might have been O-line. I could be wrong, but Levis looks promising. He had some pretty solid games. Hopkins, I think, is still going to be there, but he's kind of damaged goods at this point, in my opinion. Yeah, they lost Eric Henry, which sucks. But did you get Brian Callahan from the Bengals, who I think might actually do well with Tennessee, but Tennessee's still going to be they're still going to be rebuilding, and they're probably going to be rebuilding for maybe another couple of years before they start becoming AFC South title contenders. So I think they're going to go maybe another 5-10 season, maybe 6-11, but who knows? I could be wrong with that one. And finally, the last team I'm talking about, the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell looked good for about 4 games, and then he just started throwing picks left, right, and center. Curtis Samuel looked good. Terry McLaurin's still looking good. Jahan Dotson was good until he got traded. So did Samuel too. He's with the Bills. Washington, they're just rebuilding. That's literally it. Nothing more, nothing less. They did get Jayden Daniels. He might be okay. I think he'll be okay. I think it'll just be on the wrong team per se, but again, Washington kind of had to pick someone. So I mean, Daniels looked solid at least in training camp, so I'll give him credit for that. But then again, it's training camp, so I think Washington. I think they'll just be meh. They'll probably be 5-12. Nothing more, nothing less. So, folks, that is how I would think every NFL team is going to be doing in 2024. If I'm wrong, I'm not going to be shocked. But who knows? Maybe I'll be right on some of the predictions. And that's it, folks. That is going to be it. I will be doing my week 1 predictions, if not tomorrow, definitely before Thursday, because Thursday is going to be the first ever NFL game of 2024. I'm going to be excited for that one because NFL is back, and I'm so damn happy for it. So, folks, what is your team's prediction going to be? Let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, tap that bigger subscribe button, and tap the bell so when I upload, you guys will be notified. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. Most importantly, join the herd. I'll talk you in the next video. Peace out.